it is. Okay, so now I didn't have audio until this second, but now I do. So hi everyone, Eyal here from Modalics, from Project RNL, from all kinds of audio plugin companies and bands and stuff like that. And this would be another live stream that I'll do about live coding, and I'll explain in a second what I'm going to be doing. This is going to be another one of those streams where I'm literally going to be doing something that I have no idea how to do. I'm going to be discovering and making mistakes as we go along. Like, this is not going to be some pre-made tutorial where I'm some expert just typing out the things that I've already done. This is going to be me, diving into bugs, trying to reason about what problems I'm running into and stuff like that. So I see people joining. Thank you. I'll just do a disclaimer. I'm streaming this as usual on multiple platforms. Like, this is going to be streamed on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. And if you write something in the chat, I'm going to have it printed on screen for everybody so we can all kind of discuss it, even if you're watching it from a specific place. So to give some context, here's what I'm doing. I'm working on this thing that's a little bit like a programming language for music composition. Something we're doing for Modalics. It's a very, very unique process that hopefully will help lead to something innovative and to a new approach of creating things. And there's a lot to do about getting bits of this things to work. So one of the things I get to the conclusion that I need is that I'm going to need to actually code a front end that's really code-like, because I started with something that's just UI, just going to be UI only, because eventually the language is going to be used from the UI, not from like somebody writing text. But I realized that I wouldn't still need the text front end, let's call it, for experimentation, so that I can have my own let's call it my own little playground or sandbox where I can experiment with new language things, myself and Orl Bianiker, my partner. So this is where I am, I guess, and hopefully what I'm doing right now would be a part of this, right? What I'm going to do today is going to be mostly technical. Basically, what I'm doing is that I'm working on writing a VS Code extension of what I'm doing, which I've never done before. So I'm going to need to write this thing called a language server. Again, something else I've never done before, and I need to learn a lot about these technologies. So yeah, hopefully these would come in handy for whoever's watching this. It's actually possible some of the stuff I'll be doing today I'll be published even today or later as open source. If some of it will prove to be working and useful, it's going to be stuff like C++ wrappers around some libraries, or a way to write this thing called JSON RPC, which is like this communication protocol for language servers. So I might so it's a way to do those in C++, which I'll probably be posting if I get it to like a stable state. So yeah, how's everybody doing? How are you today? Hopefully this my setup is usually more professional because I'm not home at the moment. I'm in Los Angeles, so my setup is raw. You can see the room behind me and stuff. There's no green screen, but hopefully we will show code, and most of the interesting stuff will happen on stream. Yeah, so the point where I am now is I'm actually so what I need to do is other than drink coffee and talk to you live on stream, the part I was trying to work on, let's move my ID over here, is I realized that to do the communication from VS Code has from what I've learned so far, which I'm not an expert on, but from what I've learned on, VS Code has this let's maybe go back so that I'll explain this work process from the beginning. So you can write an extension in VS Code that will enhance VS Code, but and the idea is that VS Code has a thing called has a way to connect to this thing called an LSP, or Language Server Protocol. Um, and this thing is actually like general purpose. It's not specific for VS Code. It's more of like something that's used by all editors, like VS Code, like I don't know, Vim or something, or Sublime or Zed, whatever. All of them are probably talking in some way, shape, or form to this protocol. And the idea is that if I implement this protocol, I can just make this abstraction or this extension be a thin wrapper around this protocol. So that's really where I start with this. Like, I want to make something that's going to be the language server, and the server itself is not, is like I said, it's pretty general purpose, not specific to VS Code, but it's got a bunch of like predetermined interface stuff, and we're gonna be reading them in a bit on the Microsoft page. And yeah, and the way this communicates is that there's a few ways to communicate from this to the server, like from the extension to the server and back. Like there's some data moving back and forth. And I think what I'm going to be doing is I'll probably be doing this over TCP. There's a few other mechanisms that it allows, like you can use standard in-out, which I thought would be the simplest, but later I found it's a bit more complicated because there's some all these questions about what do you do when you actually log from within your server, like how do you make sure that's not intercepted. Like there's these like complications that happen, so I thought it might be cleaner to just do it over TCP, at least for now, at least until I have the server stable, so that maybe I can then deploy some other means of communication. So yeah, so I read a little bit about what libraries exist for TCP, and I found this library called libuv, which looks like it has quite a lot of usage. It's in GitHub, libuv. It's this thing. It's got MIT license and looks like it's used a lot. I've seen a lot of like wrappers around it and stuff like that in different ways. So I think it'd probably be good for me to get to know it. Hopefully it's gonna work fine, like it's cross-platform, everything. And I did find this library is in C, by the way. I've seen a few C++ wrappers written around it, but none of them were to my likings. Many of them had like really weird combination with the build system, I thought. So I thought maybe just learning it myself would be good. Even if I'm not going to implement the entire like wrapper around the entire library, I can just wrap the little bits that I need, and maybe it will help me understand how it works. So there's a comment here from Jonathan. Eyal Amir is a developer. I am. I've been a developer for about 10 years, doing mostly music stuff, music programs, music plugins, music related software. But a lot of the development is also just like any development, learning some library or writing some wrapper around a library or whatever it is that I'm doing in a specific time or date. Ooh. Just get a message from this friend of mine who's an amazing musician who says, "Hey, I'm in town for today, like I'm touring. Let's meet." And maybe I'll meet this amazing musician. I don't know if I should name him on the stream, but he's somebody who I'm a huge fan of. And I've met him a couple of times. He's so good. Definitely one of the best keyboard players in the world. But not somebody that I've made music with in the past yet. But hopefully, one day I will. He's definitely one of the best keyboardists that exist. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, so anyway, I looked at this library called libuv, and the first thing I did was I actually asked not ChatGPT, but Gemini in this case to, let's go back. First thing I did was I wanted to create some build system wrapper. So the first thing I did was create a basic CMake that uses cpm.cmake to fetch this. So this is how I'm fetching it. I had to do some mangling to set these options so that it won't like expose a ton of targets on me. I wanted to remove the DLL build and remove the testing, blah blah blah. So I want to make sure that in my list of targets is as clean as can hopefully be in terms of like what I'm seeing on the user side. So I set this up. I added the basic CPP file, and I've asked Gemini to just generate some code. So I don't really understand this code, but hopefully it's this is going to be like some sort of idiomatic code to do this. I've asked Gemini to write something that's not in C but in C++ with some unique pointers and stuff like that, which hopefully would be okay. And where I am now is I want to see if I can receive the TCP messages from VS Code into this. So let's see what just happened. Okay, unknown system error. That's interesting. That wasn't happening before. What could it be? Let's see what could cause this system error. I've never used this library before, so who knows what this could do? Oh, listen error. Okay, so it tries to listen to this thing. Oh, okay. I think 0 is fine. This was just me mangling here. So this should be larger than 0. I think it's fine. Okay, so it's listening on port 7000, and I'm gonna go to VS Code and I think I can just launch this and try to send something in here. Yes, so client connected, right? So that part worked. I was doing that before the stream, and hopefully this is okay. And now what I want to do is I want to get the actual message, and hopefully, you know, after this happens, I could probably start to wrap this with a more proper interface. There's a bunch of crap that Gemini wrote here that I absolutely hate. Reinterpret cast from client.gat. Client is okay. So why is it interpreting cast from this to another? I have no idea. So I guess this could be one of multiple types. I don't know. There's a bunch of crap here that Gemini AI added. Okay, I see this. I need to read more about probably the API of how this works. What is this? Pointer to const. Sure. Const here. Okay. So far I've done. Okay, so on new connection. Let's see if there's UV listen. Okay. So how do I tell it that this goes with the connection, but how do I tell it what goes into? There's a lot I need to understand in this. Let's see, how do I make sure that this is that I can also register a callback for getting the message, because at first I just want to read that I'm getting the messages before I'm doing anything more complicated. I hope the AI music is okay. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions about what I'm doing. I will try to explain, even though in this particular stream, a lot of it will be just me not knowing what I'm doing. All of it will be just me getting confused about this. There's going to be a lot of confusion, and eventually there's going to be some flow. Once I figure out, let's call it the main ingredients that this is, or the building blocks where this is built on. Because right now I'm literally reading code written by an AI. Probably sudo or something. Just OCD. Okay, so let's see if there's some maybe there's some docs in this that I can read that could help me figure out how this is supposed to be working. Like, what's the idiomatic way to do this? Are there docs or something? Okay. License, okay, whatever. Oh, that's nice. There are actually code examples. I did not realize it has it. Okay, that's good. That is good. So let's see. TCP echo server. Oh, perfect. This is what I needed. Echo server. You know what? I might even instead of all the crap that I did with Gemini, I'm just going to remove this. I'm literally just going to use their code, and I'll refactor it from C to C++. That's great. So this is the echo server. Let's see if that works. Port 7000. Oh, address already in use. That's interesting. Which address am I listening to? Okay, let's do 127.0.0. Okay. And let's send something from VS Code. Did it work? Where's my VS Code debugging? Where are you? Extension development host. Oh, it's in the other window. And I think that the main idea of how this works, I probably need to log this, my login something here. Read error, write error. Let's see if this gets called. No, doesn't get called. I think the general idea of the way this works is this should be oh, here it is, echo read. Okay, so I did get something now. Okay, something did work. Okay, that's good. There you go. On close, whatever. So there's some goodbye messages. So the way I understand this, the way I've read about this so far, and which is probably not an expert opinion or anything, is that this this should be like the VS Code and an editor or something should be calling me to say something like, hey, the user changed this, can you validate there's no errors here so we can drag red squiggles? Or the user will tell me, hey, or the VS Code will ask me, hey, which words should I highlight? Like which words should get nicer colors, right? Because I think this is pretty much the communication of how this works, right? Or maybe I'm going to click dot on something and it's going to ask me, hey, what can be auto-completed on this object? Something like that. So there's like some back and forth where the editor will keep asking me about the language, because the editor knows nothing about the structure of my language. Okay. Is there also something here that sends TCP messages? Because that would be fun if I can just send or write. Free write rec. Okay, wow, so much horrible C. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to change everything here. This is just a C example that this library is using, and I'm going to be, well, change so much about this for this to work. For this to be not to work, I guess. I'm guessing it works. I didn't check it that thoroughly. Is there some program that I can use that just will send TCP messages? Or you know what? I guess I can use Juice for that. I think Juice has a TCP thing that it uses. I don't want to use it for my actual connection, but I can use it for testing. So I can just open another project here, which is gonna. I think what I'll do is I'll run some. With the Juice interface, I'm way more familiar with. So maybe what I can do. I have some like a console app project that I'm using. I think what I should be able to do is that I should be able to create something with Juice, just hopefully trivially opens a stream, and that you know, the Juice API, at least to me, would make more sense. I just don't want to use it in the final thing because it's Juice is quite complicated, and I don't know if Juice is going to be perfect for a use case of like a language server. But for the test, for something that sends out just TCP messages, I think should be okay. So let's see if I can see how this works. So I'm going to prototypes, apps. Call it ref counting test, but it's literally just a dummy app that I'm using for testing things. Let's remove this. Yeah, so I think what I need is something like juice streaming socket, and then sockets connect. Right? You should take remote host, remote port, timeout milliseconds. It's good. So 7.001 port 7000. What else? Milliseconds. I don't care. And then I should. Is this returning something like returning? Okay, so if it worked, if I manage to connect, then log connected. Else failed to connect. And now I should be able to try to write something. So socket.write. So buffer. Okay, so I need a buffer. So I can just I guess use a string for a buffer. Yeah, should be able to do that, right? Should be able to do something like auto message equals stood string hello, something like that. Right, message dot cster message dot size, something like that. I wonder if I should keep the lifetime here beyond this. Hopefully hopefully this is okay with copying the buffer locally. I have no idea how this works. Let's also just dlog send message message. That's pretty much what my test program should be. And maybe I'll run this on a timer. We'll see. We'll run this on a timer. Okay, so if I start, is this going to fail to connect? Just building this as is. We'll see if it's going to tell me that, like for example, if the server is not around, is it going to tell me, hey, an error happened? No, it says that it did connect. It's interesting. So let's see if this is gonna. Let's run the server here. Let's see if this is going to trigger any of these functions when I try to connect. Here we go. So it's calling. It did calling back with an allocate buffer. Let's see, and then read. Okay, that's good. Good. So this looks good. It does do some sort of read. Let's also see if we can read the response from this. So I think after I've done this, I should be able to read. So there's I have a read thing from the socket. So blocking. Okay, so I need some buffer for the read. So I need something like a stood array. How this work? I think I'm gonna be. Yeah, let's do something trivial. I'll do better in a second. So let's read this into an array of char 1024, like result or something. Read. Yeah, let's just while loop here until I get the response. So let's do, or can I while loop here? I probably need to loop forever because there could be multiple responses. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start with that. Let's do while true. Put the array of the result here and read into result. this returns the, I think, yeah. So I think the way this works is you pass it some buffer. And pass it some buffer as data, like chunk to read into, or to write the whatever is into there. So like result size, or yeah, result size. Block until specifies right. No, don't block. Result.data. So it's going to read it into this, and then if size bigger than, I'm doing something which is actually wrong for the server, but hopefully it's going to be fine for these like short messages. Size bigger than 0, then reply message equals to string with result data, result size, and then should be able to just log it. Apply message. And once you've anyway, just do something like threads sleep for 1 millisecond. This is enough, just that my CPU is not going to go crazy. So I'll give it sleeps. How's everyone doing, by the way? Hopefully this isn't I don't know if you're having a morning here where you are, or evening. Hopefully this isn't too technical for your morning. Feel free to ask me questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing this. I will try to kind of provide some explanations, hopefully. At least for the parts that I do understand, which is not a lot. Let's see. So I don't even need this else here. It's going to come in. This is like an endless loop. Well, sure, whatever. Okay, that's fine. So let's run this thing. And what this should tell me, if I understood this correctly, is that it should talk to the echo server. The echo server should echo my message back to me. Right, here we go. Some breakpoints are hit, which is good stuff. Okay. Okay, here we go. I said send, not send. Oh, sent message. And let's also do reply, right? Or received. Okay, this looks pretty good, right? Good. So sent message hello, received hello, right? So the echo server did what it's supposed to. That's good. So now I can use, I'll be able to use this for my testing. Now that I know that their server works, I should be able to start refactoring this so that this looks like code written by people and not horrible C code with a bunch of malloc all over the place. Good. So, oh my god, so many horrible things. Macros. I hate almost every line of code here, but you know, these were, I guess, then the needs of doing this in C, but I will not stand for it. No way. I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna use Clang format to do this. Okay. Wow, so many bad things. Here we go. So this free. So I have something. There's some call. Oh, okay. So they wrote a function that just does freeze the memory. Why? How do I know where it's allocated even? That's weird. Is this it? Is this what's UV? I guess UV right is gonna. I'm trying to send the flow here. What's a callback and what's functions that I'm supposed to be calling? Interesting. Okay. Oh my god, so bad. I'll look at the size of something, then oh my god, this is so bad. All these malloc. Who's calling allocate buffer? Okay, so I need to, so the allocate buffer thing is something that I need to pass into UV read start. So I need to give it a call to allocate, which is interesting. That's a very low level thing to do. Like they say, well, the library says, well, we'll call when we need to allocate memory, we're gonna call you with this thing. Like this is a pattern that happens a lot in C++ on the low level part of the containers, where like an array or a vector would call you back to the allocator. And then, but in C++, if you never gave it an allocator, which is the usual case, then it just does this malloc stuff under the hood. Like you don't need to actually never do it yourself. And here it looks like they forced this pattern on you. Like they basically told you have to implement this thing that saves the buffer and the size. Like basically it basically like reinvents C++ vector here, or something that allocates memory, which I think is kind of weird. But in C, those mechanisms, I guess, were not very clear, so they had to do something, I guess, on top of that. Let's see. Yeah, so how's everybody doing? So just to give a context to people just tuning in, because I see a lot of people joining on the different networks. I'm working basically on this musical composition software, or algorithmic composition. And this thing is kind of like a programming language. So I'm actually going to be implementing this little server that will help to test this as if it is a programming language, using something like VS Code. And to get deeper into the rabbit hole, what I'm doing is that I'm working on this TCP server that will talk to something like VS Code and can kind of broadcast and receive all these messages about it. So let me see if I can trace whether, first of all, type of struct that's not needed anymore. That's really old C. I think C now supports this syntax. And then there's, okay, so they're I don't know what they're doing this address. So they want to do something like, what's this address thing? Why is this variable even global? Address. Okay. There's no reason for this to be global. Not that I understand. At least loop. What's loop? Okay, so they wanted somewhere. Okay, I see. So they wanted somewhere to create some global scoping here, but there's really no reason to this. I can just make this whole thing a struct, which would know about this, right? I think I should be able to. So many like bad patterns that I'm seeing here. At least patterns that can be easily avoided in C++. Oh my. How am I going to start with this? What's the first horrible mess that I can change? I guess the one thing is that I can probably make this whole thing a struct, but then I probably would have a problem to connect these callbacks, because these function callbacks in C++, or in C, sorry. Hello. These function callbacks in C are a bit weird because they're not taking a I'm not sure I can always pass a lambda in them, because I don't know if I can pass something with a capture. Let's see if I can do that, like this thing called echo read, right? This is the callback that I'm passing into a UV library function. So this is the signature. So in theory, right, I should be able to, instead of calling, like passing a free function, or let's do, let's take this allocate buffer function, for example. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, so let's say I have this allocate buffer function that I want to alloc buffer. So I should be able, in theory, to do something like auto alloc func equals a lambda that takes these, right? I think, does this return anything? Alloc buffer, no, returns nothing, right? So in theory, this lambda I should be able to put here, and this should work. The question is, what happens if I capture something? Like, say I have an int x, and I put an x in here. This fails, right? This immediately shows red. So this is an annoying thing with the C++ function pointers, because I cannot capture anything in here. So I'm very limited in the functions that I create. Like these have to be free functions. So these make it more complicated to just pass a function pointer. Like usually, if I wanted this to be like a function, like a member function of a class, I need to capture the dis pointer of the specific instance of the class. And I think what's going to happen here is I would need some way, I guess maybe this UV handle or something. I need somewhere to kind of pass along whoever calls this and cast it back to the class. Like these are pretty weird implementation details in C, in the way that function pointers or callbacks are connected. Because one of the things you can see happens here is that, not in this one, but in echo read. Is that the one that I've just seen? I've seen a few things here that actually talk to like this global variable, and I don't like this global variable. I want to be. I think this is kind of. I mean, if I have to, I'll make this like, maybe I'll make a singleton out of this, but not. I don't want a global variable. Yeah. So let's maybe start at least. Yeah. So instead of doing this let's start with making these singletons, which is still bad, but better than whatever they did. So let's call it something like, first of all, let's create namespace here. Namespace UV or something. Or UV TCP, right? And, right now. I guess UV is fine. UV. And then, let's do something like, what are the types here? So this would be get loop, and this would just do static loop, return the address of loop. And hopefully over time I can at least make these like private implementation details, so at least this horribleness of like a global loop is, if I'll have to use it, maybe not exposed, or I don't know, we'll see how I can get away with these with the scoping of this. So same thing here. This is like the address. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be, but address. Oh, sorry. I need to just get address. Get address. I think also this is a pointer for the call sites. This, so same thing here. And there's a pattern here, right? So I'll probably use this pattern a bit. So I'm just going to do something like a template. Type in T. Something like get static objects, something I do a lot, and this would just do this. Static T object. T. So now this will return the object, and then I can just return here. Get static object of UV. And the same would be here. The address. Now let's see now I can remove these global variables. Oh no, this loop has to be a pointer. Oh damn it. Yeah, it has to be a pointer. So okay, so let's not get the address of this. And the same with this. Yeah, because I think a lot of C libraries expect you to give them a pointer, and they would allocate the memory or initialize the object or whatever it is they have to do. So this would be something like UV get loop. Loop. Oh, this needs to be horrible. A reference to the pointer, because they actually need to change this pointer. Damn it. I'll start with that. This to that. Get address. Right? This is horrible. I'm not making it better by doing it like this. Oh wait, so I need to bind it as what? No, I can just pass it like this, right? This is weird. What was it doing before? Oh, just a 0. Okay, I can just pass. I don't need this casting. This is weird. Right? Const address. Okay. Because it has to be const, so that's why I can make. Okay, so they did a const. Oh my god, why is this horrible? Wait. Then if I'll be like to address equals this, can I then pass it this like here? What? Oh, so this is it's an in. Sock address in, it's not sock address. What's the difference between them? What exactly is this type that they need here? They need sock address, which is okay. So I think I'll need. And how they did this in a very horrible way. In the example, they're like, okay, they're just going to cast it because they're assuming that this can be cast, but I don't like this direct casting. So let's convert from my type to another in a normal way. Then maybe I can start by passing this not as a pointer. So let's do something like get. I don't know how to call it. I don't even know what this is. Get in address. To the data is equals to get address. How's this called here? Oh wow, so what were they expecting in this cast? How are these types supposed to kind of be the same thing? That's interesting. You int 8, so length, family, and then an array of 14 for the char. What? Okay, okay. So what happens here? Okay, so this is the 14. Like I think they like expected this to be like almost like a reinterpret cast. Like they expected this to be cast. I'm guessing, right? This is 8. This is what's that? It says this 16. It's I think this is like 2. And address is also 2. So how does this come up as 14? Oh, maybe it's 4. So it's 4. So it's 8, 4, and 4. Would be 16. That's weird. How did it even align thematically? Like what were they expecting for these sizes? Question is, what are we doing today? So what I'm doing now is I'm wrapping this C library called libuv, which does TCP handling. I'm using that because I want to create a language server that talks to VS Code, and I want it to talk over TCP. And I'm using this opportunity to learn a bit more about how this libuv library works. It's a very popular C library. And I just never liked the existing wrappers. There are C++ wrappers for this, but I did not like how they were implemented. I did not like the build system. So I'm going to do the developer OCD thing, the correct developer OCD thing, and kind of write something on top of it myself, which would hopefully teach me how to do this. And curl. Curl is also using libuv. Is that true? libcurl. Does libcurl let you do like receive messages as well? I think it's just client side. Maybe I'm wrong about this. I always thought that curl is just about sending things, right? No, why didn't you go for that? I mean, just the reasoning. Oh, I don't know. I until this second, I did not understand that curl lets you do incoming TCP requests. I thought you could just do like sends. But again, I'm not that much of an expert. I've always used curl for sending HTTP messages. And by the way, there are really good libraries that do HTTP that I really like HTTP lib. But for some reason, there aren't a lot of libraries that lets you do TCP in a clean way. And from what I've seen, it looks like UV is like a popular backend. I did see there's a couple of Boost libraries. There's I think Beast lets you do that, but I did Boost is kind of quite an overhead, so I didn't know if I wanted to get into that. I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, I like the idea of learning this libuv thing just because it's so popular. Let me show you something. So I mean, it's definitely one of the more popular, this network IO libraries. It's got like 24,000 stars. It's and it's used a lot. Like it's used. Here we go. It's used for Node.js, right? Julia, UV Loop, and others. Like it's a very, very popular backend. Right? Look at this. Like the world is using this thing. NeoVim. What else? Probably the world is using this. Everything to do with Node. Node is super popular for these things. Yeah, so it's a very, very popular library, apparently. A lot of people are building HTTP stuff on top of that. Yeah, I think it seems like, again, this is my first time using this, so I'm not gonna be I guess critiquing it just yet, but so maybe I misunderstood what you're doing. Only networking I did in C++ was WebSockets with SEO. And you know what? I think WebSockets is also an option. Like if this becomes too complicated, I'll probably switch to WebSockets. Just because I've had an easier time implementing WebSockets in the past than TCP. And the VS Code extension thing does allow WebSockets. Like I think it's one of the options. But I already got in the rabbit hole of learning how this TCP thing works, so maybe I will have some what's the word, some knowledge from this. Maybe there'll be some, maybe there's going to be some benefits to learning this. Who knows? Yeah, so I'm hoping this would be, an educational bit of me learning, how these horrible C libraries are. Oh, well, I'm not going to say it's horrible. They're horrible. It's just the user code of these things is just, there's so much, free and malloc and so many low level details. And hopefully by the time I'm finished with this would make sense. So the comment is, I think UDP is preferred nowadays, though packet loss is bigger than TCP. So I think UDP is good for certain things. I'm not an expert on this, but my understanding is that UDP is good for faster communication, like OSC, where you just want to blast a ton of messages. But first of all, TCP has some reasoning about how the packet works, like it can validate it and it knows that you can be sure that your message is received, which is important for HTTP and things that are built on top of TCP. But also, I think that to my understanding, there's no UDP in the VS Code extension protocol, and that's why it's not going to be an option. Like, I think there's 4 options there. I think it's std IO, which a lot of extension is used. Like, basically they just write into the IO and then read from it, but it only works if the extension launches the language server itself, it's in the same process, or they can or the language server is a sub process of the extension, so it's a bit hard to debug. And there's also weird moments if you do this, because like, let's say you do a log, like a std cout to check something, that's gonna get sent to the extension, that's gonna create bugs just because you were trying to debug something. So I think I didn't love that option. I think the other options are TCP, WebSockets, and inter-process communication, which I've tried to do the inter-process communication thing a little bit, and it seemed to me like they're doing it in a very specific, like, Node.js format, which I didn't know if I was going to be implemented exactly the same way in C++. So I don't know. I felt like TCP might be the best, or WebSockets would be the best solution for this, I guess. Hello, Noam. How are you? Okay, so back to what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn how this C library works. Oh, wait. So WebSockets is TCP. Well, WebSockets is TCP in terms of like what it uses under the hood, but it's not. But from the user perspective, it's not the same protocol. Like, I think HTTP is also based on TCP, but if I implement this, it's going to be different, right? Like from what I have to send out, like in terms of the protocol. So I think the question is like what, because I mean I can probably write this thing in HTTP, but then I would need to somehow convert messages coming into TCP to HTTP in one of the sites, because that's what the VS Code specifically expects the messages to come in and out in a specific format. It doesn't show me the low-level mechanism of how they do it, right? So WebSockets has, my understanding is that it's like a stateful connection, so there's some hand-holding and where which connection it is sending this message, receiving this message. There's some assumptions from the client and server, and I think TCP is more raw. Like, there's less state in there. It's very much just write into the socket, read from the socket. There's not a lot of assumptions. So yeah. Okay, somebody says WebSockets is TCP and messaging protocol on top. Yeah, that makes sense, right? I'm not an expert on these networking protocols, but my understanding is that a lot of them are just agreements, right, on how the messages should look like. Even if they're built on top of TCP in this case, right? It's more like, okay, well, we are going to send it on TCP, but know that you're going to get a header that looks like this, like in HTTP. Like, there's a header that says something, and when you return the response, you add the header, right? There's all these like what's the word? Like agreements between or contracts between the reader and the writer, or the client and server, where they say, well, if I'll send you this kind of a TCP message and you send me this kind of a TCP message, now we know we're HTTP, and then I can do posts on you or get or something. There's there's some, I guess, negotiation there happening to make sure that both of them are talking the same language, so that because otherwise the client will say, okay, well, this server is not talking HTTP or WebSockets, so I'm not going to try, or I can kind of show an error to the user, or switch to something else, or recover somehow. Nom says, let me switch to here. So Nom says, I'm happy to update that I started learning CPP through Learn CPP. It feels like knowing to play a right-handed guitar after 18 years, and then trying to play a left-handed guitar. The 8-beat polar. Oh, that's the emoji. Yes, that is. I don't know, what language you're coming from, but I definitely feel like learning a new language is it's just like learning a new instrument. If I need to learn how to play, a violin or something, like I know how music works, but I have no idea how to operate the thing, right? I feel like a handicap, touching the violin. And I think that it's there's definitely something, like for example, now when I'm learning a library that I don't know, or anything you learn that like you have no, I can't just skill my way through this. Like if just like you saw, it took me like 5 seconds to write the juice part of this, right? Because I know juice, but here I know nothing, and I have to learn how this works. Fortunately, I know the language, even though I don't know the library. If I didn't know the language, which is going to happen, by the way, because I need to do some typing in TypeScript later, which I don't know, so it's going to be interesting. But there's, you're losing a lot of like skill points, basically, that you usually have, that usually help you to navigate these code bases. Now you have to kind of, think about, what does it mean to use a pointer? What does it mean to do this? Like, there's all these, what's the word? Here you go. You wrote something really good. So there's no muscle memory. Yeah, this is a good way to put it. Good kind of memory. Stack, heap, and muscle memory. That's great. That is really good. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I was somebody was a friend was texting me about about compiler flags, right? About what does it mean to use stuff like fast math. Okay, so let's go back to my screen. Let's see if I can become somehow productive and actually do, see if I can finish something. Okay, so I was still trying to figure out how. There's something here that I just did not understand how it even works, because it seems like they were trying to cast So this was like smaller array to a bigger array here when they did. I'm not sure exactly what they expect here. Like TCP bind expects the socket address, which has length, the family, and then the data. I guess I could. I'll try to do this and see if it makes sense. Right, so I have this thing socket address in. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what happens here. In holds the address already in it. Oh no, this is in address, not socket. Oh, it's so confusing. This is in address T. Oh, this is 32-bit. Okay, that makes sense. So weird. So weird the way this thing is. Okay, the 32-bit. This is. Oh, maybe I can't explain. Maybe I understand. Guys, I think the port address in this 0 thing. Yeah, it should be. I think that their idea is that these should be casted from one to another. So I'm just going to use what they did in their example, which is horrible. But I'll still do it for the sake of the wrapper. So I'm just going to return. This will be a pointer. This is so horrible. Okay. There's a question here from student channel. Speaking about rabbit holes, how to get into the world? Let me switch to this thing. Speaking of rabbit holes, how to get into the world of audio for plugin development from the world of full stack dev. Okay, so there's I guess 2 questions here. One is if you want to learn, the technical aspect. It's there's this channel called the Audio Programmer. There's amazing tutorials there. So you can learn, C++ and Juice or some other library. Now there's other options to write this. So there's like mechanics that you want to learn. And I guess there's also the part of networking to get a job. I guess this is also interesting. But definitely, learning stuff. Hopefully these, some of my streams are going to be educational in some way. So you can watch them. There's a few of them on my channels. I don't know. I guess it's easier for me to help to answer specifics. I know that what I do is to write. I had to write C++, but I also had to learn how audio works and just kind of make. I know what the word is get my hands dirty and get to work on audio projects. So learn the limitations of real time. Learn the architecture of plugins. Yeah, this is something we're going to be, show up on these streams a lot. So hopefully these streams will give you at least some knowledge about this, even though this is not going to be a tutorial. Okay, come on. I need to force myself into some productivity today. So I'm just going to return this horrible thing that they did. Const this get address. What do I do here? Oh, just return this. I don't need this extra statement. All right, const. So this is get in address, and this is get address. This whole thing is so horrible. Yeah, because then I'm gonna see where it can use this. Oh my god! Hopefully I can simplify this at certain points. So it should really get address, UV, get address, and this is the loop, right? UV, get loop. I hate this singleton so much. Do not envy you. No, but you know what? I think this is actually interesting because this is. Oh, that's what happens. This is what news it. Okay, now I'm starting to get it. So now. Okay, this thing probably does. At least the address probably does not need to be a singleton. So at least I can get away with that. So I can probably. Let's say I would have something like a. Let's start with struct address. And I think this would hopefully. I can begin to clean this up with normal types. So this type would wrap. Here we go. Okay. So I think what they mean is that this should take something like a const stud string. string here. We'll slowly get rid of these C headers. Okay, so what I'm doing is I created this thing called address, and it's gonna take address to use or something. And this is how the the port, right? So there you go. This is gonna be great. And port. Slowly, I can get rid of so many horribleness. Creating a type. Is that an integer? Yes, integer port. Okay, and this is actually not needed. I think. Okay, so I'm sorry to see what happens here. This should be a member of this. Ooh. So Nom says that the overall volume is very low. I have to raise the volume on my end. Oh, this is interesting. I did not know that. Okay, so let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can change. I can probably do some volume modifying here. Volume modifying. Let's see what I can do. Audio. It does look a bit low. You know what? I can probably make this higher. Let's see how. I can do this. This would be one way to do this. I guess this is better. And I can also... Look, it's coming out pretty loud from my sound card. Probably started playing a limiter here or something. Getting better. That's good. Let's see what else I can do. Usually there are a few settings I can control for that somehow change the gain. Oh, here you go. Okay, this is gonna be good. Okay, this should be much better, right? I'm hoping this is not gonna clip. Okay, hopefully this is better. Let me know if the audio now sounds more normal. Okay, it's clipping just a little bit, but yes, much better. Okay, let's make. I know it's so hard to adjust when I'm not seeing like normal metering. Let's try. Where was I? Okay, let's try doing a little bit less of this, like something like here. Maybe it's. Is it better? Is this not clipping? Let's bring the music a bit higher too. How is that? Okay, looks good. Okay, so please report to me if there's other problems. Okay, awesome. So, okay, so what I was just trying to learn and kind of scope the each horribleness. I want to scope in a specific type, which would hopefully protect me from, you know, global variables and stuff like that. So what I realized that I think what it's doing. I'm not gonna need this thing anymore, and this I would not need as well. Yeah, so I think this would just give me yeah, so I think this just needs to save this thing, like some internal address, right? Yeah, because I think this is like an out variable. I think the idea is that this is going to save something in this, if I understand correctly. Yeah, I think this actually like kind of converts the string address into something that's makes sense to this this object, and then yeah, and then all I need to do is kind of extract the address here. So to get it back, I need to get this consts something, right? That supposedly can be casted from one to another. I hate that they made like this. It's just an abuse of the type system. But const this or something, get socket address. I don't know what it is. And this would just return this horrible cast that they did. And it is that if I have this type, the only way to construct this type is with this address. I can probably just do CSTR. So I just can construct this with the address like this, and then I should be able to get rid of some horribleness. Like I should just be able to say something like UV address, which is going to take this and the port, which is just 7,000 or something, and I can just remove this. Oh, and just to make it fun so that it's usable, I can also make this an operator. So I can do like an operator of this weird type. Const return get socket address. So that means I could just I'm gonna be able to pass this address object like this, and this should, I think, work. Now I can remove this default port thing, and I think I managed to remove some of the horribleness. So that's going to be horribleness remover number 1, right? I took this C object. Oh, I screwed up something. Oh, was I supposed to create this somehow? There's something else about this address. Let me go back to their example. Their example was here. libuv src docs code echo server or TCP echo server. How did they use the address thing? Oh, so they created so that the object would be created here without this thing. So it needs to be created on the stack, but they just used the address here. And same with this. But this is much better than before, because now I can actually put this as a class. I can make these things public and private. So this, hopefully, now that I'm going to move these slowly to a library, this is going to be much safer to use. So the user of this just has to initialize this, and then if they call another UV function, which hopefully they won't have to, but at least now there's some conversion, right? The user now has to do this, creates the address object on the stack with the port and the address. And you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I'm also going to improve this just a little bit. I think I'll take the port first, because I think I would want to use this as the default. Just because I feel like most of the times I will just use a local server. So this is just to help me. So I can just initialize this with, 7,000 or something, right? I don't need to explicitly write something when it's local. So I think this is better. Yes, this is better. Okay, so I think I'm the one. I will just by starting by, I'll move this to another H file. Let's call it something like address. And this is going to be something like so I just need, I think, UV and string. I think that should be enough. Pragma once UV and string. Namespace UV. And the address would just be here. Here you go. So this is how I scoped this one problem. That might be interesting to have an option struct with address, port, etc. for cases where things come together. Yes, I'm actually, this is probably going to be the next step. Once I learn the mechanics, this is probably going to be the next step, right? Where there's a single struct that offers all of these. I'm just solving these one by one, but I think this would be, I'll probably need to solve like each of these data types. So now I just need to include address. By the way, these should be cstud.io and cstudlib. Slowly these would get removed from here because I want to get rid of all these C functions. Okay, so let's commit this and say something like UV example, added address struct or class to wrap the UV address raw pointer calls or something. So yeah, so that was one thing. So that was a way to create a safer object that's, I think, easier to use. Now, the part I didn't understand completely is the loop, because it seemed like this loop is kind of meant to be global. What is this get loop thing that I've used? Where is this used in other places? Yeah, on new connection. Oh, that's weird. I'll need to think of a way to do this. The question is, what's UV stand for? That's just the name of this library that I'm wrapping. It's libuv. What does it stand for? Let's have a look. Libuv. Maybe it's the name of the person who wrote it or something. Libuv. Maybe somebody knows what UV stand for. I have no idea. No idea what UV stands for. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so now that I've done this, let's try. I'm trying to learn, the dependencies between code, like see what can be scoped and can be cleared up, and then hopefully, over time make this reasonable interface. The problem I couldn't find is this loop. Well, why did they use the loop like this? Like, it seems like they did something. Maybe I need to read more about what's a loop. UV loop. Okay. Because it looks like this callback was expecting the loop, and I know how to pass it this loop myself, because I cannot pass like a lambda with a capture here. Like I would, if I would need this on connected to have access to this. Maybe the loop is meant to be global. I don't know. According to Wikipedia, UV's unicorn Velociraptor, which is the logo of the library. No meaning beyond that. Okay, maybe that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what's next here. Let's see what is next. I really wanted to get rid of this loop somehow. I don't love the idea. Yeah, so let me write something that wraps the loop object. Even if it's going to be singleton, at least I can, I guess, reason more about this than this pointer thing, because it looks like I can do the same, just like I did with the address. Could probably do the same with the loop. So let's do a loop, right? And it would wrap this object. And in this case, I would have to use a pointer for the actual loop, but I can immediately initialize it in the constructor. Like they had this explicitly init call here. I can just use that loop. That would assign this. Another cool thing about using this stuff is that after a little while, I can probably move all the calls to direct UV functions into a CPP file and not have my caller be exposed to that, because those go into the global namespace, because C did not have namespaces. So I would like to eventually get rid of those. Okay, so there's another thing in it. Oh, and in it, it's the loop and the server. So maybe I'll tie those together. Yeah? No. They might need to be separate. Let's start with the loop would be separate, and then I just need a way to get this loop. So I need the same thing, like just like I did before, an operator to get it like this. Operator const return loop. And same here. So this would be a class. And then now that I have this object, I can just return my my loop, right? And I think I can just return our loop, get loop, and that I don't need to initialize it here. Yes, and I think everything pretty much should compile, because the idea is that now, because I've created this special operator in my loop object, let's see if this compiles and I'm correct. Yeah, this looks fine. Good. So I think now this first of all, so what I did was I saved this this initialization part. What does it want from me? Oh, I'm not initializing this. Here it is. Now it is initialized. Here you go. What else are you saying? Not explicit. I don't know if I want to make this explicit. I hate this. Can I remove this? Explicit? No. Can you show me what exactly is it giving me this warning? I don't like this warning. Okay, this is just a CCast. I can do this. Yeah, so should this be a reinterpret cast? I have no idea, but let's just do return. I think it's a reinterpret cast, or is this a static cast? I don't know. Reinterpret cast of this. I'm not sure this is correct, but this should be a static cast or a reinterpret cast. Okay, but this looks like a, so the idea is that in both of these classes, I'm just hiding the horrible pointer details, pretty much. Okay. So I read the loop object. Now, it's still global. Don't love the fact that it's global. Let me move this stuff out here as well, just so that's this is not even a UV thing. It's just a general function, but whatever. And then I'll just have a function that takes the loop in line. It's not great that I'm doing it like this, but pretty soon hopefully soon it's gonna make sense. Okay, good. So I finished making this part a bit cleaner. Hopefully it's cleaner. Easier, like there's no explicit initialization. There's probably, is this some, oh, I need to see is there some deletion that happens here, like a free? No, okay, so this was not expecting some explicit delete, so I guess that's good. Okay, so this is added loop. Okay, good. So I've committed this. Now, by the way, this part will probably be open source once this is clean and has some decent, user interface. Okay. So let's imagine that I'm okay with this. Now I need to see what the server is doing. So server. Okay, so the server has like bindings to. The server is what does the interesting parts, right? It connects to these. Like it basically registers these callbacks, right? Yeah, I think this registers these callbacks. No connection error. Oh, Okay, so on a new connection, here it is. This is interesting. So it creates a new client, because I think there could be multiple clients, right? Creates the client. The client somehow connects with that loop. Interesting why this loop has to be passed like this, but whatever. And then, yeah, and I'm guessing on close. Okay, so read start. This passes the like an allocator function, alloc, and okay, so maybe I can start by cleaning up this allocator function, alloc buffer, and we also have a free. But yeah, here it is. So, so these two things are like just like memory allocators. And I wonder if there's a way for me to make this. So weird. Like, what do they expect? Because I need to. Ideally, in some other libraries I've worked on, this would have some void pointer thing. What's this handle T? Oh, there's actually a it looks like they did some object-oriented imitation here in C. I wonder if I can pass my structs handler in this, like as of myself, and then when I do this, I can actually go to, instead of going to a global allocator, I can go to like a struct, but I mean, like, I'm guessing this is okay if it's maybe I can just assume that this is an allocator. So let's just write an I guess I can just write like a global allocator class that will handle this horrible mess. Like this is basically something that needs to look like this. Like it's like an allocator. And or it doesn't even have to be a structure. I can just like somehow pass this allocator. I don't love this. I wonder if I can work without it. Without this allocator somehow. Because this stuff, like this, I don't care about this because I can just allocate this myself, I guess. Like this, I should probably be able to, like rec equals or. But what? How do I erase rec? Okay, so I'm giving them then an echo write. Okay. So echo write is to free it. That's weird. That's just weird. Like I'm creating the life of the object here. Then I'm writing and I'm giving it a callback. And in the callback, I'm getting the same pointer, right? In the echo write, I'm getting this thing, and then I have to delete it. I hate this. I hate this little thing. I wonder if I can somehow go around this because I just don't like this whole memory model where where read is writing something, then or read is creating something, then I'm telling this to the writer, and then the writer deletes it. Like, why can't I just do something scoped where I'm passing the writer something more meaningful, something more like a like a lambda with a shared pointer that takes care of the stuff. UV write. See what the callback is. You know what? I'm guessing if I can, maybe I can wrap this with something that will do this for me. Like basically use the idea that the request UV write T. What's UV write T? Wow, this looks so bad. Subclasses and oh my god, they re-implemented basically C++ objects here. I have to think of how to do this. All right, I'll be back in like 30 seconds or something. All right, I'm back. Okay, so what I was trying to do is trying to figure out what's the best way to wrap this flow they're using. There's a few things that I did not like about this at all, and I'm trying to see. Oh, where's my glasses? Oh, that's better. Okay. Let's see if I can somehow wrap this in an object instead of doing this like wild, pass a pointer here that's been malloc, then read it somewhere else where it's freed. Maybe there's some more streamlined flow I can do this memory thing. Echo right, free. Okay, so they're trying to cast it from this. This whole casting thing is so weird to me. Okay, if I understand correctly what they did, I think what they tried to do is, this is I think their way to create object-oriented, if I understand correctly. Yeah, look at this. I think their idea was, they're saying, well, if you want to inherit from something, you first put in the base class, right? This is pretty much how C++ object-oriented works. You first put in the base class, and then you put in your own stuff. And then that's how they were creating like derived classes of the thing. It's so silly. And they've probably done it for a few others. Like, is this a base class too? Abstract base class. Okay, I'm starting to learn what they did here. This is like, this is just like a way to implement inheritance. Really, like in a very low level way. But I think I can use that. I can use this thing. I can use this horrible mess of a thing somehow, right? I can because eventually what I want is so that I'll have something like structure server, right? Server and like a void connect or something like. I need something similar to what I've seen in Juice, basically, which is should be cleaner. What else? Okay, TCP bind. Okay, TCP bind, that's easy because that thing has no what's it called? No dependency or something. So the first callback that happens here is on new connection. On new connection, I guess needs the loop. That makes sense. Is this also a base class? Ustream is a subclass of UV handle T. Okay. Right. How do I know that it's a subclass? It's a subclass because UV handle fields. Jesus. Oh, okay. Okay. So each of these base classes already gives me this void pointer. Okay, so they did do this. So maybe I'll be able to use their abuse. So they did do a way where I can stream fields, read callback, allocate callback. Oh my, this is so bad. Okay, but what I could do is, yeah. So this data thing, I wonder if I can abuse this data thing and just use this for myself. Can I? Is this data thing used anywhere? Like data? Let's see if I can use this. If it's public, maybe that means, if I understand this correctly, is I can always do something like client data. Okay, this is good. This is getting me somewhere. So I think I should be able to use this to put something in there, and then I can kind of wrap all their calls with my objects. Look at this. Look at this. So check this out. So let's say yes, I think I can actually do this and actually make this a scoped object like server. Okay, let's do this one by one. This is going to be a fun refactor. Okay, just see that nobody urgently needs my attention. Okay, how's everyone doing, by the way? Thank you for, sticking with me as I'm in my my rabbit hole. Okay, so I want to do the server. The server would start by doing this initialization code. This stuff is going to be pretty easy. So it's going to be a server. Let's for now imagine that I'm going to initialize the server with a thing like int port, constant string address equals 127.0.0.1. Okay. Now I don't need this address object, right? I can just create this address object. Do I need this address object alive? Yeah, so I can probably just hold this address object. Address, port address. Okay, and I can just initialize it with this. This is very nice. Now, loop, right? I can just access the loop. That's nice too. And then, so the idea is all these lines are just going to be replaced by server. UV server without or I know auto server equals UV server. And then, so UV listen takes the stream. Okay, so I can just get the stream from the server itself, right? Yeah, so I can just hold this as an object locally, and then I can just give this as an operator for now. This probably is not correct, but whatever. I'm just gonna return the address of server. Right, so server, and I can just pass server in here without the pointer, right? Now, UV stream T. What have I returned here? Is that not a UV stream T? Oh, maybe I just need to cast it again, right? Oh, or maybe I can just do this UV stream T. Yeah, no, I need to actually cast this again. Like do this interpret cast of UV pointer. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's a const. What do they want to get here? Okay. Pointer of the address of server. Is that not true? Oh, cast it to this type. Okay, that's better. Now I think this works. So I'm just passing the server into the listen function. Okay, so this is better. Right, this is going to compile. Good. Let's see if it's going to run and not crash. Running and not crashing. I'm not doing much, but hopefully it's okay. Look at all these like horrible casts. Hopefully, one by one, I'm gonna remove those. So at least they're scoped somehow. Okay. Connection, echo read, write and close. Okay, so let's just make this. Okay, so the run, yeah. This is like kind of like start listening, and it tells it what to do when a connection comes in. So something like, let's call it void listen. Listen. What's this default backlog? I have no idea what that's going to mean, but I can just make it something like a constant expression int default backlog equals 128. So this part is going to be interesting because I need to make on new connection, and right now I just need to put these on top of this object. Everyone wants my attention today. Okay. So the idea is that I need to. Ooh, what's wrong here? UV listen cannot convert. Wait, what is this? Oh, again, I need to do this. I need to get this as a stream. So let's do something like a. Get stream. So just return this. Const. Wait. What? Maybe, you know what? Maybe this could just be a static cast, right? This could be a static cast. I'm never sure about these cast stuff. Cannot convert from pointer to TCPS, right? But TCPS isn't that subclass of UV stream T, right? So what's the problem? Is the problem that I'm consting this? I guess the problem is the const. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So get stream, and this would just be listen, right? Would just be like server.listen. Right? Does this need anything? Yeah, probably not. Okay. I can just return the error message or something. So if there's an error, do this return thing. Otherwise, return. Oh, I can just return R. I guess. Okay. Oh, I don't even need this stuff. This does all the error handling. I don't need to return anything. I just need this. I just put the error handling in here. Let's just do listen. It's been handled. Okay, this is better. My main function has clear logic now. It just says listen, then it runs the loop, and then I can let's see if we run default. Okay, so I can just put this as a member on the loop. What does it return? Int. Good. So let's just go to my loop and do void run UV run loop. UV run, get the loop, right? Int const return. Okay, so this is pretty much what all this does. So this would be return UV get loop run, because I know what the loop is. Okay, so this hopefully will make it clearer, at least in terms of the user side of what I'm doing here. Okay, let's go back. the part I'm trying to understand is how to connect this whole thing to like some lambda, right? So let's start with on new connection. On new connection takes this thing, and I'm going to you know what it will do? I think I should be able to have some generic helper that can give me my own type out of each of those things, right? Like I should be able to do something like, check this out. So templates, type name. Because I think a lot of these are they all stream T? Are they always stream T? Is handle T also a stream T? Like is stream T a handle T? You know what? I think everything is going to be a handle T, right? But I still can't, like my C++ compiler does not know that they're all handle T. So let's do something like get. Let's do T reference, I guess. Get internal or something, and it's gonna take a T. Yeah, because I think like the way they did is the more complicated types. Everyone want to get a hold of me today. I have no idea why. Yesterday I was like begging for people to like answer my calls. Nobody was answering my calls. Even my mom was not answering my calls. Today everyone are on my case. Today, like my phone is exploding. Everyone wants to talk to me. Everyone wants to meet me for lunch. Everyone wants to talk to me about code. I feel so popular. But no, why can't people just balance their needs, according to my schedule? Like, why can't they, see that I was open yesterday and I had a ton of time. I was driving for like 5 hours, had a ton of time to talk to everyone on the phone. And they can see that now I'm streaming and I'm trying to do something productive. Anyway, so the idea is that I want to get this, like, let's call it UV object or something. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing now, but this will hopefully clear itself up. The idea is that I want to get this. Here you go, handle fields. Yeah, and I just want to get access the data object and cast it. So I think I should be able to do something like return static cast of T star of UV object data. And then I will dereference this. This is kind of a weird function. And I think this should help me kind of pass a type and read it back on the other side. That's really what I want to do. Like I want to be able, so for example, in my on new connection, let's see where I'm calling this, on new connection. Oh, wait. Is it giving me... Yes. Okay, that's good. So instead of using on new connection, I'm going to write my own function now just for testing. I'm going to write a function that looks like this. On new connection, blah, 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 blah. And this function needs to be a free function. Like this can't be a member function. However, I should be able to say, I'm going to need to forward declare my server. This is kind of weird. I'm going to forward declare my server. And then, do I need to forward declare my server? No, I don't need to forward declare my server. I'm going to pass it like this, just here. And in the implementation, which is after server has been declared, I should be able to do this get internal of type, like something like O2 server equals get internal of type server from, this is not the server, this is like the stream or something. So of the stream, right? Go to reference. Why is this not good? Oh, it's not a T pointer. I think I messed up with this function. This should be like an A, type name A, because those two are basically different types. Okay, and then if let's say I'll put something here like I don't know, int x equals 5. This in theory should let me access this this variable. And just to make sure I'm not going to put a 5 here, I'm going to put the 5 like in here, because I want to see that this is the actual going to be the correct instance. So like server.x. So let's see if this is going to work. Well, let's do some like a new connection custom. And let's see if this is gonna work. If this would let me connect like my type, and this would hopefully help me with oh yeah, I just need to run my client project, which is just a simple request. Oh, here we go. So I tried to access, but this was not good. Let's see what stream has. Oh, that data is null. Why is oh, okay, so I need to pass it. I need to pass this. So what I'm going to do is, when I pass this new connection costume, get stream, here we go. So get stream. Oh, I can probably just do something like, let's see if this is gonna work. Server data equals this. Let's see if this is gonna work. Let's spray. This is a very ugly hack what I'm doing, but this is a way where people connect C to C++. Awesome. I think this does not crash. Oh wait, did it arrive? Oh, wait, did it happen? Let's try again. Let's make another call. Make a call and oh, my function was not called. What is that? Let's try again. Running the server, running my client. Yeah, it's called. Okay, good. And my server has the number 5. Okay, good. So basically now I faked a way to pass a stateful object into this. That's really the main idea. And what I can do with this is, let's say I want to pass like because I wanted to use this so that I can create, so I can recreate this these functions without like manual memory allocation. And I think slowly but surely I can do this. So now I can take this on new connection function they created in their example. I'm going to do the same thing where I'll re-implement this here and just have the name here. Now I know that I can always get my stream back from this. So instead of doing malloc, right, take this client and blah blah blah. I can now just have my server manage this stuff. So I can. So I think what this needs to do is this needs to be like some sort of vector, right? And when I pass UV accept, I need to pass the pointer to the client, and then I should do the read. And let's see, where's my client gets deleted? Probably echo read, right? This is okay. So this is what. So it's all in my code. I can clear this. I can do this. So I can have something that's like clients. Clients needs to be basically, I need to include vector here. Good. So clients would need to be basically a stud vector of something like a unique pointer of this thing. This thing, UV TCPT, this object, which I'll probably need to wrap soon in something else as well. But we'll, you know what? Let's start with this. Let's start with having define what a single client is. That would be more reasonable. So this would just be a stud unique pointer of UV TCPT client, and when I initialize this, this is going to do client equals stud make unique. UV TCPT. That's good. I don't need to do any kind of destruction here because this will happen automatically. That's great. And this would be just a stud vector of clients for now. There's going to be a couple of helper functions probably will materialize in here. Okay, and now the server is going to just hold, I don't need this X anymore. The server will just hold a list of clients. And then by the way, I can just move this to constructor because it's always the same thing. Good. And then I need to make sure that this thing far greater than 0 or something. Right? It's an int. Am I wrong? No. Okay. Clients, use of initial lines. I'm not sure if he's right about this. How can this be right? I can change the order here, but I can do this as well. I'm not sure what's not initialized here. I think he might be wrong about this. Let's see where this isn't initialized. Anyway, so the idea is now when I'm calling this onNewConnection function, then really I can just get internal from of type server, like let's call it stream. So, and the server would be passed to me right now. Now I can just call functions on the server. So the status, whatever, I'm doing some error handling, but if there's no error, I can just do all this stuff myself with a scoped way. So this is going to be something like create client. And all this stuff can be moved here, and I will slowly be right. So instead of doing this malloc blah blah blah, I can just do clients. Very likely, by the way, I'm going to need to have some locks here or something. So let's start by doing, something like a create, and let's do it in client reference, and this would be like a client and place back. Return client step back. Right, so this would just be O2 new client equals clients create. That's good. This will do all the malloc stuff, and this would that the delete will just happen later when this gets removed. We'll see how we're going to do that. So it's good. TCP init get loop client. Okay, so this stuff can be moved into the client itself. Probably almost all this stuff can be moved into the client itself. There's like a callback here and stuff. The client can implement everything about this. So the single client, when it's initialized, the single client knows about the loop. So it just says get loop with the client.get. There it is. So this gives it the client. So we created a client. Now all this UV accept. So then it asks the server, do you accept this client, basically, right? Or something. So first of all, why casting this thing to the client a million times? Let's make the client itself be, let's do the same thing where it's going to return an operator of return client get. Oh, it needs to be as a stream. Again, all this casting, horrible casting stuff. Okay, I can do that. So return static cast of this. Right? No, give it as a UV stream. Right? Client get study cast. What do you mean cast from unique pointer? Cannot cast from the pointer to UV stream T. Why not? It's just a pointer cast. Why shouldn't it be able to do that? Static cast off. Is it a const thing? No, right? What am I missing here? How does it work? Because if we'll do get stream. Not as an operator. That work? No. What have I screwed up? Study cast off UV stream T. It's the same type, right? I'm not reading this incorrectly. Can't I cast this pointer? Like if I do a reinterpret this, will I have to do that? Yeah. Why can't I do this cast as a static cast? Maybe like something with the I thought this would work. Like, should we be able to upcast this to UV stream T? I'm not sure why this compiles and the static cast doesn't. Need to read about this. Anyway, I just need this for now, really. Okay, and then I should be able to just say, hey, here's a new client. You like it, right? UV stream T. Cannot convert by TCP/T. client. New client. What is one here? UV handle T. Okay, that's fine. I can make the client also be UV handle. These are all just different base classes, basically. It's so silly. Trying to make helper functions for these because this is going to be like a common pattern everywhere here. Just like I do this, I can also get something like a UV handle T. Okay. There you go. So now I can wait. Oh yeah. I just need to do what I need to call is just like server. To it. See if this compiles. Server deduced to O2 cannot appear in some initializer. Oh, stream, not server. Okay. Better. Okay, this compiles. That's fine. So I'm creating this new client. If it accepts the new client, UV close. Sorry, close needs to do. I guess remove this as well. Okay, I can do that. But first, so read start now. Now read start is going to start. You see, like it passes the client, but then tries to delete it. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? Or yeah, I want to call UV write. UV close. Where was it? Wait, so who's clearing this, or who was supposed to be clearing this in the original example? I'm not sure. I guess this should be like some memory cleanup function, right? Stream close, but how would it work? Oh, I'm guessing I know how to do that. All right. I'm gonna have to finish the stream now because I have somewhere to go, but I might be back in a couple of hours. Depends on my mood. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you soon.